Anthem vs The Division 2 Part 2. Today we'll be going over the gameplay abilities and loot from both Anthem and The Division 2, and have a look at which one is shaping up to be the better game. Let's go. What is up guys, welcome back to TGG. This is the channel where I talk about a wide variety of games and topics, and we continue that conversation in the comments below. If you're a gamer that loves not just one game, but a wide variety, and you want a place to come to talk about those games with like-minded people, hey, consider subscribing for more videos like this each and every week. If you missed part 1 last week, where we talked about the story and developers of both games, click the card in the top right of the screen to go watch that one first. So in part 2, we're going to be comparing the gameplay of both games. More specifically, we'll be talking about the gameplay abilities and also the different types of loot in both games to see if one offers a wider variety of options. Because in terms of gameplay alone, this one's sort of like bringing a knife to a gunfight. Anthem's gameplay sets us flying around like Iron Man in exosuits called Javelins, whereas in The Division 2, we're just normal people. So in terms of, I guess, scale, Anthem takes it, and it's not even close. But sometimes, scale doesn't always equal fun, and it doesn't necessarily mean that there's a wider variety of abilities and loot to play with. So let's start with The Division 2. The Division sets us up as Division agents, and as Division agents, we have access to some pretty cool technology and weapons, with 4 different abilities to choose from. Now with all of these abilities, we have a lot to go over here. There's a lot of info, so I'll leave in the description the link to the website where I got all of this info from, so feel free to click on that and follow along with me. The first ability I want to talk about is the Chem Launcher. The Chem Launcher fires various different chemicals, similar to a grenade launcher, with each chemical having a different effect. There's the Fire Starter, which sends out a flammable gas. This gas can be ignited by any spark, whether that's a bullet or explosions or anything. There's the Riot Foam, which is a sticky heavy foam that will stick enemies in a place for a period of time. The Oxidizer, which emits a cloud of corrosive chemicals, eating away at enemy armor. And the Reinforcer, which acts as a healing ability. When shot at teammates, it will restore armor for your allies. The second ability is the Drone, which is a small flying quadcopter with a wide range of abilities. The first is the Striker, which is an offensive version of the drone with a turret to chew through enemies. The Defender, which deflects incoming bullets with an invisible barrier. The Tactician, which allows the drone to spot enemies. The Bombardier, which drops a barrage of explosives in a designated area, and the Fixer, which will repair the armor of you or your friends over time. Up next is the Hive, which is a group of micro drones that can have a wide variety of effects on opponents. There's the Stinger variation, which allows the drones to attack and damage targets. The Restorer, which will repair armor for your allies. The Booster, which increases weapon handling, movement and other abilities of allies. And the Reviver, which will heal any players within its radius. And returning from The Division 1 is the Seeker Mine, but this time with new abilities. The first one is Explosive, which is the classic Seeker Mine that we saw in the last Division game. It will chase down targets and, well, explode. There's the Airburst this time, which allows the mine to go to a specific area, launch into the air and explode. The Mender, which, similar to other abilities, will repair and heal allies. And finally, the Cluster, which contains several smaller mines that will seek several targets. Amazingly enough, that's not all. In The Division 2, once you reach level 30, you'll also be able to select what's called a specialization. And there's 3 different specializations, and these will sort of act like a class. The first specialization is the Survivalist. The Survivalist comes equipped with a crossbow, and all of the skills are centered around using traps and cunning ways to take enemies down. Next, we have the Demolitionist, who comes equipped with a grenade launcher who's centered around, well, blowing everything up. And the Sharpshooter, equipped with a sniper and specializing in long-range combat, changing the tide of the battle from afar. So that pretty much covers all of the Division 2's abilities, and I think it's pretty clear that the Division 2 is definitely going to be a big step up from the Division 1, and is trying to keep players engaged for a lot longer with all of the customization of each ability. Anyway, let's have a look at Anthem. All of Anthem's gameplay abilities center around the 4 playable javelins, which are the exosuits players use throughout the game. Similar to the Division 2, you can switch between classes at any point throughout the game. Each javelin comes equipped with a unique melee attack, 2 different offensive abilities, each with 5 different variations, one defensive ability with 2 different variations, and of course an ultimate ability. Now I'll leave a link to the page where I'm getting this information from as well, because I'm going to read out the names of most abilities, not everything about each ability, or else we'd be sitting here for hours. So again, feel free to click on that link as we go through each ability. So let's start with the Ranger. The Ranger is the beginning javelin and sort of acts like a hybrid class. Starting with the Ranger's melee ability, the Ranger comes with an electrified mace. There's also 5 different grenades to unlock: a frag, Inferno, Frost, Seeker, and a sticky grenade. The Ranger also comes equipped with one of 5 different assault launchers: a homing missile, an energy pulse, a spark beam, venom dart, or a blast missile. The Ranger has 2 support abilities to choose from: a muster point, which is a rally point which restores your allies' ability cooldowns, or a bulwark point, which is a sphere that deflects incoming damage. The Ranger's ultimate ability is a multi-target missile battery, which allows the Javelin to launch guided missiles at a number of enemies. The second Javelin is called the Colossus. The Colossus is Anthem's version of a tank class with a lot more health than the other Javelins. Its melee ability is a heavy ground smash. The Colossus comes equipped with a shoulder-mounted ordnance launcher with 5 different variations to unlock: a high explosive mortar, a burst mortar, a firewall mortar, a lightning coil, and a shock coil. Second offensive ability is a wrist-mounted launcher, with 5 different variations to choose from again: a heavy cannon, a flamethrower, a flat cannon, a railgun, and an acid spitter. And its 2 support abilities are a taunt, which scares all enemies to attack another target instead of the Colossus, and a deflector pulse, which gives all nearby allies increased damage resistance. Its ultimate ability is called the Siege Cannon, which is a massive handheld cannon that deals massive amounts of explosive damage. The third Javelin to look at is the Storm, and the Storm sort of acts like a glass cannon. It's capable of doing massive elemental damage, but it doesn't have much health. The Storm's melee ability is a Fiery Strike, which is an explosive flash which deals damage and knocks enemies back. The Storm comes equipped with one of 5 Blast Steel abilities: a Lightning Strike, an Ice Storm, a Flame Burst, a Rime Blast, or a Living Flame. Its second offensive ability are called Focus Seals, and these consist of Hoarfrost Shards, Fireball, Ball Lightning, Glacial Beam, and Arc Burst. Its 2 support seals are Wind Wall, which blocks enemy projectiles, and Nexus, which creates a circle which increases cooldowns of teammates within its radius. And the Storm's ultimate ability is an Elemental Storm, which consists of 3 area of effect blasts, consisting of fire, frost, or electricity. And finally, we have the Interceptor. The Interceptor is the smallest of all the Javelins, and it operates on an assassin-like get in, get out mentality. The Interceptor's melee ability is Double-Bladed Daggers, which allows the Javelin to use a flurry of slashes to damage enemies. The Interceptor's first ability is called Assault Systems, with Seeker Glaive, Acid Bomb, Cryo Glaive, Cluster Mine, and Spark Dash to choose from. Its second ability is called Strike Systems, with the 5 options being Star Strike, Plasma Star, Nova Strike, Tempest Strike, and Corrosive Spray. The Interceptor's 2 defensive abilities aren't really defensive abilities. Anyway, they are Target Beacon, which increases all damage on a specific target. Now, if you've played Borderlands 2, this is similar to Zero's ability, which is ironic because they're pretty similar characters. Its second ability is Rally Cry, which will remove any status effects from nearby teammates. And the ultimate ability is called Assassin's Blade, and it essentially supercharges the Interceptor, which allows it to use its blades at a higher speed. So in terms of gameplay abilities and which game, I guess, offers more, it's really tough. I mean, Anthem sort of has, like I said earlier, a built-in advantage because of the type of game that it is. but I guess I'm gonna have to say this one's actually a tie, because with The Division 2, they've sort of gone above and beyond. They've got your abilities that you get up until level 30, but once you reach level 30, you actually get kind of like a subclass. So I guess it goes above and beyond in that aspect. Whereas Anthem sort of, already has those 4 built-in classes, and again, I think they've gone above and beyond as well with all of the different customization options that you have within your subclasses. So yeah, this one's gonna be a tie. So let's move on to the loot systems in both games. Similar to, well, every RPG ever, Anthem will have a loot rarity system, and the different rarities are common, uncommon, rare, epic, masterwork, and legendary, in that order. Legendary and masterwork gear though are very similar, but legendary loot is just slightly better. What makes legendary loot a bit better than masterwork loot is what Anthem calls inscriptions. Now, all gear except common gear will have inscriptions, and inscriptions are essentially Anthem's name for random rolls. An inscription basically gives your gear a unique ability or buff. What helps to make rarer gear better though is that they'll have more inscriptions to choose from. With that said though, any masterwork or legendary item acts similar to, I guess, how an exotic would in Destiny, in the fact that they have a specific ability that makes them unique when compared to a standard piece of gear. Another big part of Anthem's loot system will be components, and components are basically the name for what we know as mods. It can affect your weapons or gear in different ways. One example of this is a particular component may reduce the cooldown of a certain item, or something along those lines. In Anthem you can also craft gear, but you can't just craft anything you like, you'll have to get a blueprint first and then craft it after that. And all of the different weapon types in Anthem are pistols, submachine guns, rifles, shotguns, miniguns, and grenade launchers. The Colossus though is the only class in the game that can use miniguns and grenade launchers, but the trade-off to that though is they can't use pistols or submachine guns. So moving to The Division 2, similar to The Division 1, The Division 2 will allow you to equip a primary weapon, secondary weapon, and a sidearm. Also similar to the first game, The Division 2 will have a color-coded loot system that we see in all RPGs, with the top tier weapons being called exotics. In The Division 2, the developers have come out and said that exotic weapons will stand out more than they did in The Division 1, and they'll all have their own unique look. The multiple different weapon types will include assault rifles, marksman rifles, submachine guns, shotguns, light machine guns, pistols, and rifles, with rifles being semi-automatic and burst rifles. You can also equip grenades, however, up until level 30 you can only use the concussion grenade. When you reach level 30 though, you'll unlock 3 more grenades, but it'll depend on which specialization you're using. So the sharpshooter will get a flashbang grenade, the demolitionist will get an incendiary grenade, and the survivalist will get a frag grenade. Each weapon will also be able to have mods equipped to it. Because this game uses real life weapons, there'll be a variety of real life mods that can be equipped. These are things like sights, grips, suppressors, and a lot of attachments like that. Each mod will slightly alter the weapon's performance, as you'd expect. So when comparing the loot systems between each game, again it's definitely close. But I think because Anthem is more of a sci-fi game, they have a bit more of an opportunity to be more creative with the things they can do with loot. And I think they're taking advantage of that. Also, the fact that they'll have crafting in the game probably gives it a very slight edge over the Division 2's loot system in my opinion, but feel free to disagree. So taking round 2 just is Anthem on this one. In part 3, stay tuned for that one, we'll be going over the endgame, progression, and future DLC that's planned for both games. And that'll probably be the final part, unless there's anything else that I forget. But as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's have a discussion about what we've gone over so far. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I would love it if you guys could consider subscribing and helping this community grow. But until next time guys, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!